The commissioner got booed twice, and Caitlin Clark just told everyone who she actually trusts. She stood on that stage, trophy in her hands, smiling through it, while the entire arena turned on her before she even said a word. This is the second year in a row that WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert has walked into the league's biggest annual moment and gotten booed for it. Not a scattered heckle. Not one loud section. Loud enough, and long enough, that broadcasters had to talk over it just to keep the segment moving. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why, because there's a private conversation at the center of this, one the commissioner denies ever happened, one player who says it did happen, and a comment from Caitlin Clark that might be the most telling 3 sentences of her entire career. Stick around, because the last part of this story is the part nobody saw coming. Before we get into any of that, if you're into stories where the real drama happens off the court, not on it, this channel covers exactly that. Hit subscribe now, because this situation is still moving, and you don't want to find out how it ends from somebody else's recap. Let's start with the moment everyone's still talking about. After Team Clark beat Team Buchers 129-122 in one of the most entertaining All-Star games this league has ever produced, Engelbert walked out to hand over the trophy. That's usually nothing, a smile, a handshake, some applause, and the broadcast moves on. Instead, the boos started the second her name hit the speakers. This wasn't random. It echoed the same frustration that's been boiling since last fall, when Minnesota Lynx star Napheesa Collier came forward with a claim that changed the entire tone of this story. Collier said that in a private conversation, Engelbert suggested Caitlin Clark should be grateful for the money she makes off the court, since none of it would exist without the platform the league provides. Collier then alleged Engelbert added that players should essentially be thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal she'd negotiated for them. Here's the part that matters, Engelbert denies all of it. Flatly. At her press conference ahead of the WNBA Finals, she said she did not make those comments, calling the reporting inaccurate and adding that she has enormous respect for the players. She also said she was disheartened, that she has 2 kids who were upset by the coverage, and that the timing, mid-collective bargaining, mid-finals, had made everything more emotional than usual. So you've got one side saying it happened, the other side denying it outright. No recording, no transcript, just 2 accounts that don't match. But once a claim like that gets said out loud by a player with Collier's credibility, it doesn't just fade. It gets replayed. It gets quoted back at Engelbert in every press conference that follows. And that's exactly what's been happening. Now here's where it gets more complicated, because this isn't just about one alleged conversation. It's about a pattern building for almost a year. Go back to the incident involving Alyssa Thomas and Caitlin Clark, a hit to the throat during a live game that got replayed instantly across every platform. Reporting from Sports Business Journal indicated Engelbert wasn't initially planning to escalate discipline for the play, until NBA Commissioner Adam Silver reportedly stepped in. Engelbert ultimately suspended Thomas for 1 game and added a flagrant foul penalty and fine, but only after that reported involvement from Silver. The league pushed back publicly, denying that account. But the story had already spread, and it left players asking an uncomfortable question: if the WNBA's own commissioner isn't the one protecting its biggest star, who actually is? Silver didn't stay silent either. Asked directly about the situation, he said Clark had become something like a political football in this country, and called the way she'd been treated unfair, careful not to throw Engelbert under the bus by name, but the message was hard to miss. And that brings us to the moment that's really driving this story forward right now, because Caitlin Clark finally said something too. Not a takedown. Not a single raised voice. That's just not her style, and it never has been. But after this year's All-Star Game, standing in the same building where Engelbert had just been booed, reporters asked Clark directly whether her relationship with league leadership had improved. Her answer was careful, and it was clearly not accidental. She said communication and relationships solve a lot of problems, that there's always room to improve, and, in the same breath, she made a point of saying she and Adam Silver have a great relationship, adding that she appreciated him showing up to support the game. She didn't trash Engelbert. She actually gave her credit too, saying the commissioner has helped the league hit real milestones. But she never said the same warmth about Engelbert that she said about Silver. Anyone who's watched Clark handle media for the past 2 years knows she doesn't choose her words by accident. That contrast, real warmth for Silver, careful diplomacy for Engelbert, landed at the exact moment speculation about Engelbert's job security was at its loudest all year. Because here's the thing nobody in the league office wants to say out loud yet, multiple reports this year have described a growing belief among people around the WNBA that whatever business growth Engelbert delivered, she may not be the right fit for what the league needs next: better relationships with players, faster public accountability, and someone willing to actually take hard questions instead of avoiding them. One widely cited example, Engelbert reportedly backed out of a scheduled interview with Dan Patrick, a decision that immediately became its own viral moment for all the wrong reasons. Silver, for his part, has stayed carefully noncommittal every time he's asked if Engelbert will stay in the role. Back in the spring, he wouldn't confirm anything, saying only that there hadn't been recent conversations about her future. Asked again more recently, he gave a similarly guarded answer, pleased with where the league is, but notably not vouching for her personally. And structurally, that matters more than it sounds like it should, because Silver is the one who appointed Engelbert to this job in the first place. If he's the person who ends up deciding, or heavily influencing, who replaces her, then every time Clark publicly signals trust in Silver while staying carefully neutral on Engelbert, she's not just answering a reporter's question. She might be quietly telling you who she thinks actually understands what this league needs going forward. Nothing here is confirmed. No timeline has been announced. Engelbert has not said she's leaving, and the league hasn't said she's being replaced. What we do know is this: 2 years of boos at the league's biggest showcase, one denied but very public allegation, one commissioner from a different league publicly defending your star player, and now Caitlin Clark choosing her words with obvious precision at the exact moment everyone's watching for a signal. If this story moves the way it's been moving all year, the next few months could bring the actual answer, and when it drops, you're going to want to have seen this one first. That's exactly why it's worth hitting subscribe right now, because I'll be covering every update on this as it happens, and I don't want you finding out secondhand. So here's the question I'll leave you with: if Caitlin Clark is choosing her words this carefully in public, what do you think she's actually saying in private? Drop your take in the comments. I read every single one, and I might be covering the best theories in the next video.